Is your day going well today? Spring, summer, autumn, winter, then spring again. 4 seasons, each with its unique, unmistakable charm, gently touching quiet lanes. The peaceful spring air, with rain making everything pristine, raindrops clinging to every leaf and blade of grass, falling softly on shoulders and hair. As poet Xuande once said, spring is sweet, ripe, and enchanting, for the first month is delicious like a pair of lips near. There's a feeling of something bottled up inside all winter, now ready to burst forth, an urge that makes it impossible to sit still. Life force surges within like blood. I used to think, who doesn't love spring? Vu Bang also said it. Who can tell the mountains not to love the water, the butterflies not to love the flowers, the moon not to love the wind? Who can forbid a man to love a woman, a mother to love her child, a young girl to miss her husband? Only then can people stop being enchanted by spring. I also used to think, what child doesn't love spring? Every S it would start with. Among the 4 seasons, spring, summer, autumn, winter, I love spring the most. In spring, trees sprout new leaves and buds. But later, growing up, I saw everyone sighing and complaining when spring arrived, with Tet approaching and so many tasks piling up. Not to mention, Tet increasingly feels bland, not as joyful as it used to be. So, try to remember. Is there a spring you've lost and wish you could relive that moment once more? My grandma used to say there was one spring she would never forget, a spring of elation amidst the million joys of the nation, shared by millions of compatriots. That was the first spring of 1975, the first spring of peace and independence for the nation. The first spring we crushed the puppet regime and defeated the new colonialism of the American imperialists, completely liberating the South, uniting the country, bringing the land back together as one. Spring, carried by swallows, a normal, joyful season has now arrived. There are things that are normal but turn into something extraordinary. That longed-for spring, a normal season for reunion, used to be just a dream for so many years. Some ordinary things become extraordinary. A regular season like any other becomes the first season, the dreamt-of spring now a reality. As Grandma recounted, her eyes would gaze far, far away, wide enough for the space to be vast enough, and then her mind would begin to redraw the memory. It was the crow of a midday rooster, the tears of a mother who saw her child off 3 times, silently weeping twice. It was smoke rising over the river, all the pain and loss intertwined with the happiness and faith in a new spring. Spring following the footsteps of children returning to their mothers, a spring shimmering with tears. A bitter warm spring day, a young soldier gathering memories after thousands of miles, eager to return to his old village to visit his elderly parents, his virtuous wife, and his innocent children. The nation was filled with joy, emerging from the protracted war. And from then on, people knew their homeland, they knew how to love others, they knew how to cherish one another. It was a joyous anthem of a beautiful spring, like a dream joyful yet melancholic, touched with the profound yearning of a nation that had just escaped decades, even centuries, of war, bombs, bullets, and bloodshed. In 1975, the entire nation erupted in the joy of victory. But now, Tet holds nothing special for Grandma anymore. She has forgotten almost everything, only flickering glimpses remain through the blurry screen of memory. But has she lost that piece of her spring soul? I bet not. That beautiful piece of spring has been passed on to her children and grandchildren. That spring piece is not lost. It still resides within her and in those she loves. How many generations have sacrificed their springs so we could have such a beautiful spring now? Spring now is still a normal season, just like that year. It's just that we have grown too accustomed to it, overlooking its good things. Spring is still joyful and full of vitality. It is simply that my perspective and feelings have changed, no longer what they used to be. Every year when peach blossoms bloom, we used to see the old calligrapher, the inkstone, and red paper on the bustling street. The custom of asking for calligraphy at the beginning of the year is a tradition of our people. During the flourishing period of Confucianism, calligraphy was highly valued, and playing with words was an elegant pastime. The characters crafted by talented individuals could express the talent, mood, ethics, and character of the calligrapher. As we look back at the beautiful traditional culture of our nation, we can't help but feel proud of these beautiful aspects. However, it's undeniable that national traditions are being replaced by other modern cultures. This sorrow is not just a fleeting sadness, but a deep regret for a part of our culture being forgotten in modern times. Painful, yet impossible to hold on to. The old calligrapher still sits there. Passers-by take no notice. Yellow leaves fall on paper, outside misty rain drifts. This year, peach blossoms bloom, but the old calligraphers are nowhere to be seen. Where are those who bought their works in previous years? As society develops, many professions become obsolete and are eliminated. Not only calligraphy, but we also see many other disappearing trades: street photographers, weighing machine operators, or even professional letter writers. Cultural values that once shone brightly are now fading. Will they be forgot? Whom can we blame now? Should we blame everything for changing too fast, or blame these craftsmen for not adapting and innovating? This question is similar to the dilemma faced with the development of the machine age, where machines are replacing humans. Millions of people fear losing their livelihoods to soulless robots. Many individuals express concern and wish to curb the pace of technological development, but they won't be able to. This current of growth cannot be stopped. What humans should do is to evolve with it, to follow and flow with that current. Hundreds and thousands of jobs will be replaced, but hundreds and thousands of new jobs will also emerge. We don't lose anything. We just temporarily set things aside and replace them with something more suitable. Thinking back, how can we blame the elderly for not adapting and changing with the times? They've been doing that profession for decades. In their twilight years, their minds start to slow down, making it hard to absorb new things. Even they are overwhelmed by the rapid changes in society. For so many years, they lived accustomed to this profession. What are they to do now if they abandon it? On the pedestrian street, an old craftsman, dressed smartly, wearing a beret and a large camera around his neck, strolled past tourist spots. Suddenly, a little girl ran up, took his hand, and pulled him towards a group of tourists, all children her age. The girl loudly declared, "Teacher, this is my grandpa. He takes photos here. He's taken so many beautiful pictures for me." The teacher bowed in greeting. Afterwards, the grandpa offered to take a picture for the whole class. After he finished, the teacher offered to pay him, but he refused, saying he wanted to gift it to his granddaughter's class. Perhaps in 10 or 20 years, our children and grandchildren will no longer see the image of the old calligrapher, the street photographer, the electronic weighing machine operator. Even the last professional letter writer at the Saigon post office has passed away, as reported in the newspapers. Many pieces of spring have been lost. These professions will die out. We can do nothing but respect, cherish, and be grateful for those memories. Tet arrives, spring returns, bringing with it the sorrow of those living far from home in foreign lands. Oh, distant traveler, what do you wish for? What do you reminisce about these days? On the 23rd of the 12th lunar month, the streets are bustling. Everyone burns votive paper, casting a fiery glow over a corner of the yard. Through the reddish fire, smoke stings the eyes, a deeply pungent sensation. But that's the 12th month in a lingering piece of the soul from old years. This year, in this foreign land, children far from home sigh even longer for Tet. Who doesn't miss their homeland? Those living abroad are those who belong nowhere. They've been away from home so long that they gradually feel alienated from their own homeland, yet not long enough to feel that where they live is truly home. Everyone far from home feels this sense of precariousness, as if they belong nowhere. In the days leading up to Tet, a familiar line often received by international students over video calls is, "Do you have Tet food over there?" They just chuckle and reply, "Yes, we have everything," while subtly pulling their phone away to hide their watery eyes and the second half of their answer. "Yes, we have everything, except our whole family." In foreign countries, they sell all sorts of things, nothing is lacking, but home is simply not there for those living far away. That's why the thing those far from home yearn for the most is Tet. In truth, the pieces of spring in their memories have never been lost. They are also waiting, longing for them to return. It's surely true that there is always a place longing for them to return. Tet for those far from home is always tinged with a subtle sadness. But it's all right, because no matter how far away we are, as long as we remember and keep it in our hearts, Tet and this love will never be lost. Tet is the time when people are most sensitive. Watching videos of New Year's Eve, seeing two parents sitting at a feast with plenty of meat and fish, kumquats and peach blossoms, nothing missing, yet still feeling a vague sadness because there's no one else at the table but the two of them. Watching this, I couldn't stop crying. The family had all daughters and they all married far away. My uncle only had 2 daughters. Last year, both said they couldn't come home. This year is the same. His wife passed away when the older sister was in 10th grade. He raised them alone, diligently, until both were happily married. Every Tet, my uncle's house would play the loudest spring music in the neighborhood, but only one person would sit at the dinner table. Thinking about it makes my heart ache. Not to mention, children living far away only come home for a few days during Tet to visit their parents. A tiled house of over 100 square meters, but sometimes 10 people, children and grandchildren, crowd in, making it noisy all the time. The elders bustle around, taking care of everything, looking so delighted. The usually quiet house has never been so lively. But after Tet, when everyone starts returning to their livelihoods, that's when the tears begin. Tears of parents, reluctant to part with their children and grandchildren. Tears of elderly parents crying from loneliness and longing after the warm and joyful time spent reuniting with their children and grandchildren. Each child takes their small family back to the city to work. Watching through the camera, I see my parents sitting on the porch, gazing aimlessly, and then I see my mother silently weeping, and it breaks my heart, not knowing what to do. There's a difficult problem called the family love equation. Suppose a person can go home to their parents for 7 days during Lunar New Year and spend a maximum of 11 hours each day talking and bonding with them. If the parents are now 60 years old and live to 80, we can actually only be with them for another 15-40 hours. That number is equivalent to just 64 days. Reading these lines, I'm startled and alarmed. Is the time I have left with my parents truly only measured in days? 64 days, that's what I always thought of as plenty of time. I'm almost speechless. I know the years keep flowing, time doesn't return. I'm not as busy as I think, the years are not as long as I imagine. One day our parents will grow old. Spring, swaying gently, carried by swallows, returns, bringing vague recollections of past springs. The atmosphere and scent of spring in the homeland, in people's hearts, subtly linger. At that moment, filled with joy and happiness, a sense of regret rises within for something. I only fear that spring will pass, and my youthful days are also slowly slipping away, with nothing able to hold them back, nothing to regain. Therefore, I constantly waver between joy and sorrow, everything hanging in between. But then, looking at the familiar scenery, seeing those familiar faces, a gentle peace surges within me. It makes me realize that Tet is still there, forever connected to me. Every rain particle still lightly flutters. Unconsciously, I smile gently. I love everything about this place. I want to rush out, pick up every stanza of memory, gather the faded fragments, embrace them all to piece together the film of my childhood. Wandering on this 1,000-mile journey, I feel grateful that there is still a place to return to, a place where I can sit down, slow down, let my heart find peace, and gather all my love. Spring is coming means spring is passing. Spring is young means spring will grow old. And when spring is gone, it means I am gone too. My heart is wide, but heaven's embrace is narrow, not allowing humanity's youth to last. This life is too short. If we can't even finish loving, why resent each other? There will be things we lose. We miss family reunions, we lose our childhood, fragments of memories about traditional cultural values fade, we lose loved ones, and sometimes we lose a part of ourselves. Knowing this is not meant for us to be sad, melancholic, regretful, or to sigh. The important thing is that at that moment, we are aware that we will not have anything forever, that we will lose, whether accidentally or intentionally. And because we know it won't last, we will know how to cherish what we still have, won't we?